Hi guys, welcome back. So today I wanted to show you guys how to make the easiest recipe for tinga. This is how my family has been making it for like a good while already. So I'm gonna show you how to make it step by step. And it is so easy, honestly. It's just like a simple ingredient, but it still comes out like really good at the end. So here are the ingredients. So of course, all depending on how much you're gonna make. I'm gonna make 5 chicken breasts. And you need the Morena Chipotle Peppers, specifically these because the other ones, they have like a different taste to them. You need salt, you need some tomatoes, you need a garlic, onion, also these chicken bouillon. If you know, you know. This changes the game on everything. So what you'd want to do for your first step is of course rinse out the tomatoes and wash them pretty good. We're gonna get our pan so I can start boiling the tomatoes. And then fill it up a little bit less than halfway so we can start boiling the tomatoes. So I'm gonna put them on the stove now. Start putting it to boil. Oop, wrong one. I'm gonna leave it to up to number 6 so they can start boiling. Step is optional depending on how you boil your chicken, but I put my water to boil first and I left it at number 6 as well. Put a piece of garlic and onion to boil, and I do cover it so I could make the process go a little bit more faster. So now I'm gonna start cutting up the chicken into little slices so I could start boiling it. I kind of already did, so I like cutting them like medium sized, not too small. So I already have my chicken cut and I do wait for the water to boil a little bit. Once the tomatoes start looking like that, like cracked, I would recommend to already turn off the flame and then just let them sit there until they cool down a little bit, and then we're gonna start blending them with the chipotle sauce. Also, once the water starts looking steamy like that, you could start putting the chicken in there in the pan to boil. So I'm gonna start putting the salt in there as well. Just end up putting like a good amount of salt. And then end up covering it just a little bit slightly. Quick little break to appreciate the little things, like the beautiful little rainbow that's reflecting. So cute. So now that the chicken looks fully cooked, and I had checked it already, I ended up cutting this little piece that's on the side over here. I turned it off already, and I'm just gonna leave it there sitting with the lid on. So I'm gonna start boiling the tomatoes now. This kind of spatula so I can start transferring them. I'm also gonna put 1 clove in the blender. So I'm just gonna put this little piece in there as well. I end up cutting a little bit of the onion, probably like up to right here. I'm gonna put this much of onion in the blender as well. I'm gonna put just a tiny bit amount of water in the blender as well so the tomatoes could end up blending in there all together. I'm gonna end up getting some of the water from the tomatoes and just pouring it in there. Probably like 3 spoons worth of these because I wanted to hit probably like the 1 mark right there. So for now I'm gonna blend these together. I'm gonna turn on the blender and start liquefying it. So now I'm gonna start adding the rest of the tomatoes in there. as well as the chipotle peppers. And how you could tell that there's still like a little bit of sauce in there, you could just get some of the water from where the tomatoes boiled and just pour it in there. And just give it a little shake. And just pour it back in there. And we're gonna do the same to this can as well. I like it being a little bit spicy, but not too much. But I feel like with two, it gives it like the perfect amount of spice. So I'm gonna pour the other one in there as well. And then do the same with the rest of the sauce as well. Give it a little shake, shake, shake. And then just pour it in there. Now we just close it up and start blending it again. So I ended up cutting my onions into onion rings, cut a bunch of them, and then I stopped the blender already. The sauce should look a little something like this. If you think it's a little bit thick, then I would recommend to put another spoon of water in there. But regardless, I'm gonna put water in when I put it inside the pan. So the next step is to get your chicken and start shredding it in a separate bowl. So I got my little bowl right here, and I'm gonna be shredding it with forks. So I just take it out of the water. Should look a little something like this. And I just start putting it in the bowl. That's how I end up shredding my chicken. So you want slices like these, so you could put them in the tostadas and it won't be so heavy on the tostada. So after shredding the chicken, it should look a little something like this. So in a different pot, I turn the heat on. Turn it on to number 5 for now. Just gonna wait for it to warm up a little bit, and then we're gonna put some oil and then the onions in there. So I am gonna use some of this oil. I'm gonna put some of the oil in the pan. Just so I could coat the bottom of it. I'm gonna get my onions. Then I put the onions on the pot. Just gonna stir them around a little bit. And then when they're all coated with the oil, probably leave them in there for like a little bit less than a minute. Then we're gonna get the sauce. We're gonna put the sauce in there. We're gonna turn up the heat a little bit to number 6 and let it boil for a little bit. But first, before it boils, we're gonna add some water in here to get the rest of the sauce from there. I'm just gonna end up adding some of the chicken broth into the blender. And I'm just gonna stir it around so some of the sauce could get in there. And then we're just gonna pour it in there. So then I'm gonna get a spoonful of the chicken bouillon, probably like that much, and put it in the broth. Then give it a little stir. I'm also gonna give it a little taste to see if it needs some salt. I am gonna put a little pinch of salt, not a lot. Just that much. Depending on how much salt you like on it. go ahead and put as much as you want, but I just put a little bit so it won't take away from the flavor. And then I'm just gonna give it another little stir. And I'm gonna let it sit here for about 5 minutes until it boils a little bit more. So it's been about 5 minutes, so I'm gonna start putting the chicken in there while it's boiling. It'll be a little hard, but I have my chicken right here on the side, so I'm gonna be putting it in there. It's hard because it's only me by myself recording. So I ended up stirring it now with the broth. And I'm probably just gonna let it sit there for like another 3 minutes and then turn it off. So you just add some sour cream to the tinga, and there you have it. Bon appetit!